And welcome to this week's conclave focusing on energy. My name is Cynthia Cramblett. I have the great honor to be one of the leaders here at the church and connect with so many beautiful members through many of our offerings, which are weekly conclaves, our monthly ceremonies, and other special events that you can tune into by visiting thesacredsynthesis.com and checking out our events page. So before we dive into this week's topic, which is all about energy work for beginners, I first want to share a bit of information with you all about the upcoming ceremony. On October 5th, we will have our monthly ceremony. This is working with both the Unity Mist and the Jaguar Light Wand. These are two beautiful sacraments and both different versions, delivery versions of 5-MeO-DMT that we have built to work in tandem together to create this beautiful scaffolding with the Unity Mist, and then a titrated experience that is self-regulated yet guided in this container between Benjamin Moore and myself. So I'd love to invite you all to join us in that ceremony. If you'd like to register, visit low-5.com/Jaguar. You'll also see that down below in the video description. Other fun and exciting things coming up in the month of October. We are adding in a book club. We plan to continue our weekly conclaves, and we'll be closing out the 30-day protocol where some beautiful members have chosen to join us and work through a beautiful process. So lots of beautiful celebrations and happenings, closings, and new beginnings all at the same time. So with that, I want to dive into the subject du jour, and that is energy work for beginners. So you may have joined some of the conclaves in the past, heard me talking about various forms of energy work. This is the first time I'm really touching in on energy work for beginners. And the reason I felt called to bring this forward is that I firmly believe, beyond belief, I know that we each have high abilities to sense into our experience. And this is not just from a woo-woo perspective. It's actually brought to you through grounded science, touching on our nervous system and other systems throughout the body that we all can relate to. So I have a little bit of an itch. So thank you so much for being here. And this energy work is not some sort of mystical and out of reach experience, but is really tangible of who you are as a being. So I'm going to talk tonight from the perspective of Kundalini Yoga, which I have filmed quite a few classes for the Sacred Synthesis that you can find also on YouTube. And then also from the grounded science perspective that will help explain why these practices that I'll later teach you work. And most importantly, I really want you to leave with tools you can use anytime to attune to your own energy and clear away what doesn't serve you. So we'll get into some practices a little bit later, but at first I want to feed your mind first so that you can be more primed and ready to drop into the energetic attunement experience. So think of this conclave as sort of a bridge between yogic traditions and teachings and more modern science, and both of them walking hand in heart and hand in hand to give you access to an understanding of what's already innately inside of you and surrounding you. So first and foremost, what is the energy body? From the Kundalini Yoga perspective, we say that you're not just a physical body, you're actually made up of 10 bodies or layers of energy and awareness. Each of these types play a role in how you show up in the world. So I'll break down a bit of what they are. So at your core, based on this lens and perspective, is the soul body. That's the spark of aliveness and awareness that makes you you. Surrounding that are 3 mental bodies: the negative mind that protects you, your protector, the positive mind that seeks opportunity, expansion, and then the neutral mind that is more of like observer that really wants to bring balance and harmony to those 3 mental bodies. We, of course, all have our physical, tactile, tangible body, the flesh and bones that you get to live in. But beyond that, there are subtle energy layers. That next being the pranic body, which is your life force, which is carried on through the breath. if you've joined me for any of the Kundalini practices, you've heard me talk about pranayama, and that is your breath. Okay, so beautiful to tap into it. Without breath, would we have life? I don't think so. And then the auric body, which is your protective electromagnetic field. This is what we refer to when we say the aura. It's actually measurable. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. But yes, that's your electromagnetic field. And in Kundalini Yoga, when we do that, we like to strengthen our protective field through a myriad of practices. Next is the arc line. So females have 2 arc lines, whereas masculine embodied beings only have 1. So the one that each gender has is the halo. So many times you'll see saints and enlightened beings in depictions of them with a halo surrounding them. So that's actually their arc line. And then, so, across the brow and the heart, and then across the heart area, the breast area, this is another arc line that women have, and just to provide nourishment and extra energy to those beings that we can feed if we bring them to life. And then there's your subtle body, which is where your intuition and fine perception live. And then finally, we think about the 10th body being the radiant body, which is your presence. This is like when people say, wow, she has a lot of presence, or wow, I see your light, you're really shining today, or there's just something about you. This is the light that you shine into the world. This is your lamp of sorts, where you really can show up with a bright, illuminated light, or it can be turned down and just a little bit more dim. And each of those is totally okay. No shame if your light's dimmed a little bit. We know why we do that for a multitude of reasons. But there's ways in which doing some of these practices can clear out the different layers in the being's body that we are, those 10 different layers, so that your presence can be even more fully illuminated no matter where you walk into a space. So I know this all might sound a little bit poetic, but it's also super practical. And each of these layers are something that you can tune into, work with, and also strengthen. So we'll touch on a little bit of the how to do so as we move through the conclave at the last third of tonight's share. So science as a bridge, we got to talk about the science perspective. So with that, my notes went away here. So from the science perspective, there's a lot of things that we can tune into, and it gives us another lens. So we each have a heart and a brain, which is measurable, as I mentioned before, through electromagnetic fields. Sensitive machines like magnetic cartography can pick up these signals, and there's other ways which we can measure. I know that everyone's wearing a lot of measurables now to see where our heart's at. And these are fields, they might be tiny in the sense that to us, like as beings, we're pretty much looking for like the big, the loud, because we have a lot of sensory input and sensory flooding and maybe sensory overwhelm in many spaces. So it might be hard for us to tune into it, but through these measuring devices, they can actually be picked up. And what they measure is how we can shift our state of being and what outside influence can do to shift our own state of being and connectivity and sense of well-being. Your fascia, which is the connective tissue that wraps throughout your body, is also able to be measured. So when you move or you stretch, tiny electrical currents are produced. And through your breath, which is your pranayama, it is a way to regulate your nervous system. So slow, steady breathing, around 5 or 6 breaths per minute, has been shown to increase your heart rate variability, which is a really strong marker of resilience and emotional balance. So we'll do a practice a little bit later that will attune you to your breath, and you'll probably start to feel deeply relaxed. So if you're watching this live, it might prime you to go to bed just a little bit earlier and more relaxed, hopefully remove some of that chattery monkey mind. So when we talk about prana, aura, and energy attunement, you can also See them through the lens of physiology, so your breath, your nervous system, and your electromagnetic activity of your body. So that's kind of how science describes them. And I don't want to get too deeply into the weeds about all of that, but this just helps us stitch our minds into more of the lens of language that's used more commonly today. So if you're looking to figure out how you can sense your energy, um, this is basically how we're going to do it. And I'm going to provide you some examples of what you may have experienced already in your life, because I've heard many people say to me that I'm not sensitive to energy. I don't really feel anything. But that to me is not true. And through these examples, you might see a bit of yourself. So have you ever experienced goosebumps or tingles when someone speaks a deep truth? That's something very common. Is you get I call them truth bumps or truth pimples on my arms. Sometimes a little tingle, or like on the back of my neck or at the top of my head, things tingle. Or have you ever been around someone or in a group or in a space, and after a while, you start to feel drained or heavy or just like negative? That's you tuning in to the energy surrounding you, and some would say being permeated by what's happening in the field next to you and around you. If you're a nature lover, this might be something that applies to you. Just this week, my beloved man and I were out trekking, and a short while in, maybe about an hour in, I turned and looked at him like, wow, I could just feel myself decompressing. So you might start to feel like your chest literally goes like a relaxation that comes on. This is you attuning to nature. It doesn't take very long going into a nature environment to start to feel that relaxation. And there's actually been studies to show that people who have like a tree or a greenscape outside of their office window tend to have much higher scores in health and well-being, both mental and physiological, than someone who doesn't have any type of space like that. So imagine going out in nature, touching Mother Earth, connecting with the electromagnetic field of the earth and the Schumann resonance, and feeling that permeate your being. So it's just another way to tune in to how you actually are very, very, very tuned in to your sensitivities around energy. You just may not have labeled them as such. If you're a parent, this is probably really common for mothers. I can't speak for fathers, but you might know or sense something that your child needs before they make a sound. Or for like little babies, you might know what they want just by something little small that they've said or indicated. And then something that's very common for an energy work for beginners, specifically in the Reiki world, which I love so much, is rubbing your hands together. And then you can pull them apart and you might feel some heat or a gentle magnetic pull, something along the lines of that, where you can start to sense your own field. So all of this is very much energy perception. It is not imagination. It's truly reading your body, reading signals through your nervous system, your heart field, your fascia, and your own awareness. So don't discount your connectivity already. And what I have found through my own personal journey and that of others I've had the honor to work with and just observe their own journeys, as they've started to declutter their being, their physical space, their emotional space, started treating their body in more healthy ways through healthy inputs of food, drink, media, friendship, self-talk, all of that, they start to become even more sensitive to energies because you're more of a pure channel. There's not a lot of stuff gunking up your system. You're not inflamed by other impurities. So then your body hasn't numbed itself out. Your energetic system hasn't numbed itself out. So you can actually more easily feel the flows of things. So as you're on your healing or self-examined journey, just note that your sensitivities are going to dial up, not because they weren't always there, but because you were inflamed and you were gunked up. So no shame there. Just know that you might have to start changing your lifestyle a little bit, where you spend quite a bit more time in nature. You don't hang out with that toxic, negative person who you love, but they don't really want an audience, or they want an audience rather than someone giving them like feedback and support to make change. And you might make some radical changes in your life as you start to get more and more familiar with your field and start to honor and respect even more deeply your being and how you want to feel, because that's what this is all about, really, is feeling where you're at, sensing it, not getting so much the head involved, asking the mind to just quiet and soften and be in a state of ease so that you can then use your sensory abilities to feel into your field and start to listen to whatever your body or your energetic or your spiritual self, higher self is saying to you. And then you can start to make little micro adjustments in your life. So that's what all of this is really about, and what I hope you all will give yourself the gift of as you become more and more familiar with energy work. So let's dive in first. We'll do some practices now. These practices are for attunement and clearing. So the first is breath. If you feel comfortable to close down your eyes, and if you can, kind of sit tall, adjust in my seat, and just begin inhaling really slow through your nose for 5 seconds. And then exhale super slow for 5 seconds. And just continue to repeat that pattern. Keep going, inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. And you could invite your brain to just soften, maybe become a little mushy, inviting your protector to stand down, knowing that you're safe. And your optimizer doesn't have to be anywhere, doesn't have to create anything. You can just be in this neutral space. Recognizing that as we give ourselves some quiet time, some spaciousness, we can start to hear the truth that's emerging from our being our own guru, our own teacher, learning to trust our own intuitive, inherent wisdom. So this entrains your heart and lungs to sync your rhythms and calm your nervous system. If you can, uncrossing any limbs, having your body mirror itself so you're in perfect unity from right to left. Okay, maintaining that breathing in of 5 seconds and out of 5 seconds. Unbending any appendages if you can, or just having slight bends, and maybe if you're seated, slight bends in the knees, hips, elbows. So now you've kind of felt what it's like to be in that slower wave, and just inviting you to stay in that energy of softness with the mind calm, just being in observer mode. Inviting in your heart's wisdom. You can now rub your palms together until they're warm. Keep going. Really inviting in some fire. And like I did before in the beginning, showing you how to just pull your hands gently apart, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. And you can pull them apart and back together just sensing from your hands what that energy is. This is your energy ball. Your hands are an extension of your heart chakra. So knowing they can be very, very healing. And they are power sources for sensing your auric field. So there's many ways in which you can sweep your auric field. In yoga, many times people bring their arms up, over. I'm probably disappearing a bit. There you go. And then you can turn them outward and just sweep the field. And as you sweep the field, just notice if you feel tingling, heat, an area where there's nothing, no sensation. So many different sensations you're going to feel right from your hands. That's in your auric field, in your little egg of protection. And then also you can start at your head, your halo area. And in Reiki, there's some specific moves and ways in which you posture your hands. I'm not going to go into those. You could look those up or go and do a Reiki training. But essentially, you always start from the top of the head, the top part of the body, I should say, and make your way down to ground the energy down into Mother Earth, where any disharmonious energy can be recycled back into Mother Earth and used as food and fuel to be recycled. So as you move your hands around, just gently, feeling your energy. And if you get this intuitive hit to remain in that area, stay there. And while you're here, you can channel in beautiful, clearing, loving, compassionate, healing, whatever the positive sensation, feeling that you'd like to pour into that region of your being. Invite that in. Many times my throat chakra gets kind of choked up. So often when I come to the throat chakra, the throat area, I always have the sensation to swallow. Like if there's been like a big sticky thing blocking my ability to speak clearly. A lot of people have throat chakra wounding, so you're not speaking your truth, your authentic truth. There's so many reasons why we don't do that. Yeah, you can just continue to move over your body. If your hands feel a little bit overcharged or you're feeling a lot of sensation, you can flick them, just intending that energy. If it's gotten sticky and heavy, just flick it off. I like to flick it towards a candle, another room, the sun, towards the earth, anything like that, just to discharge it. You can just swipe it off like this, off your hands, like you're brushing off dust, just to discharge that energy. And then you can come back into feeling your field. So as I said, if you find a sticky or heavy spot, just linger there and breathe, not judging it, not letting your mind get too caught up in the story, but inviting in truth. And typically, when we're tapping into intuitive truth and knowing, we start to second guess ourselves and what comes forward. So even if it doesn't make sense in the moment, trust the first thing that you hear. Okay? And what you're building is self-trust and strong intuition. We can also use sound in our energy work. Won't get too heavily into that, but sometimes you might want to put your hands on your body or hover them somewhere and hum. Hum stimulates the vagus nerve. Or if you do om or om, that helps as well. And these vibrations clear out and organize the energy field. It also lengthens your exhale, which further calms your nervous system. So maybe you want to hum. I'm of the belief that healing, humming, making sound can be mantra, can be very, very powerful in healing. Even if you think, I don't have a good voice, just start playing with sound and allowing it to come out. And if you're scanning your field and some sort of intuitive sound or movement wants to happen, inviting you in to do that. Another beautiful practice that I do almost every night, if I remember to do so, or if I'm in a space where I just don't feel as if like I'm me, like I just don't feel like myself, I will do a version of this. So you can place your hands on your heart. I like to place one on also on my womb, wherever feels good. Maybe you want to, again, put yourself into a mirrored position, and you can say out loud or quietly to yourself, whichever feels most nourishing and potent and powerful. I release all energies, stories, timelines, beliefs, projections that are not mine. I send them back to their source. And should the source not want them, I send them back to the highest light, love, purity, so that they can be alchemized. I send them back. I release them from me. I command them out. And by commanding these energies, thought patterns, etc., storylines that are not yours out of your system, you might start to feel almost like there's a vacuum surrounding you, or maybe out of one side of your being. Or you might feel these strands coming off of you. Like just in saying that, I can feel some things coming out of the top of my head, some hooks out of my chest and my back. Just want to give it all back. Sometimes I even think like, I want to give all thoughts back to those who thought of me today. Give them all back. They don't need to stay with me. Give it all back, releasing it. And once that feels complete, and you feel like there's no more energy that's not inherent to you and of the highest and the best, you can then call in all your own energy back. Because you go through the day and you give a lot of your energy away. You leave like trails of stardust, right? And you want to call that back because that's an aspect of you, right? So in your own way, or like this, I call back my own energy, clear, whole, and present. I collapse all timelines into this now timeline. I call all my energy back from all lifetimes, timelines, stories, projections, thought patterns, everything back to me that's inherently mine and of the best and the highest, the clearest and the most divine, for the best and highest order. And in doing so, you might start to feel this pouring back into you, kind of the reverse magnet, like you're the magnet, pulling your own highest and best into you. Only love resides within your being, commanding it as so. And as this does, pours back into you, inviting in a golden light, pouring in from the top of your head. And lean back a little like you're in a waterfall. Inviting it to flood in through your being from the top of your head, completely coating all of your 10 bodies, your 10 layers of the body with this golden light. From the tips of your toes, the bottom of your soles, all the way up your being, all the way up to the top of your head, filling you up. And this replenishes you with great clarity. I hope that's been effective for you. Sorry, I'm feeling very calmed and relaxed now. So see, I do these practices often and I recommend them every single day. I'm in a very calm space now, but I want to continue sharing with you some more information. If you're in a real life application, right? You're not just at home, like chilling. You can execute some of these skills into the day-to-day that will help you navigate the world as you continue to expand in your sensitivities. So remembering back to that breath, that 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, you might want to do that to calm your nervous system down, to come into a state of like smooth, creamy, juicy easefulness before you have some sort of important conversation. So many times we amp up our energy. Many of us are loaded on caffeine, and it helps to just come into a calm state and like ease into the conversation. There's this beautiful point that's been making its way around the internet lately about like the most powerful person in the room is the one with the most calm, non-reactive nervous system. So while you might be excited about the conversation or maybe nervous, this breathing can help bring you back into that more neutral mind and help you speak from a place of true clarity, truth, of your own intuition, your highest truth. Remember opening up your throat. So that's a beautiful exercise. If you're in a crowded space or just came back from a crowded space, you might feel a little bit of density of stickiness on you. You can shake out your body, like literally shake it out. You can sweep your auric field like I showed you, like up. Sweep your auric field. You can go up the body. You can kind of visualize your hands going up the back of your body and scooping back down, pushing all of that energy back down into Mother Earth. Shaking is a really good reset as well. We see a lot of like animals that have been prey or in dogs that have gotten into a fight of some sort. Afterwards, they shake out. That's them discharging extra energy within their nervous system so it doesn't get locked within their being. Or if you're in the situation, in this space, you can hum. I've been a hummer for a very, very, very long time. And I didn't realize until I started studying Kundalini yoga, somatics, and some other beautiful practices that my humming was something that I did regularly, not just to make a sweet sound, but more importantly, I was doing that to calm my nervous system. So remember that beautiful tool of just or quietly hum for a beautiful reset. So hopefully this helps if you're in one of those situations. And just think of it as really quick energy hygiene, just like brushing your teeth. You sweet breathe and reset your field. So you're not carrying up this buildup that really isn't yours. So you can really be in your happiest and your highest, or even in the truth. If you're going through a dark, challenging time, you can be in the truth of that without knowing you're going to be stuck there forever. It's not you becoming darkness, it's you just experiencing a sticky spot, right? So then when you go into happiness, you can know, wow, I'm really embodied. I'm here in this happiness. I know this is innately mine. It is exuding from my being rather than being a dopamine input. And you can experience it and not identify as it. Just looking at the time. Yeah. So I was going to do a little short Kundalini sequence, but I want to keep our time as it is needed to be. If you want to experience more Kundalini Kriyas, which are physically, we're going to be doing some movement and breath. I want to invite you into the ceremony on October 5th. In each ceremony now, I have the great honor of doing a little bit of Kundalini for about 30 minutes to bring us into a state of like ease, discharge some stickiness, so that when we go into working with the sacraments, our body and our nervous systems and our spirits are primed for that experience. If you can't make it to the ceremony, there's a recording available, or you can catch some of the Kundalini videos that I've taught that are already here on the YouTube channel. So with that, I just want to let you all know that energy work does not have to be complicated. It's really just working with your own innate processes. So your breath, your sense of like making sound, your intention, your intuition. These are all tools of awareness that you carry within you, and that I invite you to continue to tap into. So your body knows the highest and best truth. We just need to clear it out a little bit with some energy hygiene, just to be a bit more centered and be super aware of the whispers that come through. So I love you. I appreciate you all for tuning in to this particular conclave. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our team, info@thesacredsynthesis.com. And until next time, take care.